Yo guys, so this month I got max allocation with the trading pit, and I also managed to get 9,000 in payouts. And with this video I don't want to brag or anything, I just want to show you what's possible, because I'm going to share my journey and I'm going to show you that I'm also just a normal guy, but I just had a lot of discipline and consistency to go through all of this. And I want to show you that it's also 100% possible for you as well. So what I'm going to go over is my journey from start to the end, or right now, not the end, but I'm going to be explaining every single thing, not too much in depth, because that's not the main point of this video, because after that I'm going to be explaining the trade setups, and I'm going to show you my profits as well, so that you guys can also learn from the setups that I take and how did I take them, the way that I trade, so that you're also able to get these payouts yourself. On the way, I'm also going to give you some mental tips, some psychology tips, and just overall some general tips, so that you can also achieve these kind of numbers and achievements. So first things first, my journey. I started 2 years ago with trading, but before that I was doing a job in a restaurant, and I saved around 2k or something around that, and then I started to trade around 2 years ago, because I stopped with the student job at the restaurant because I didn't like it. And to be honest, my boss there was also very ungrateful for all the work that I put in, so I decided to stop there. And then I had to do something, so I looked up on YouTube and I saw that I could make money online. I was about 16 years old at that moment, or actually I just turned 17, and I looked up on YouTube some videos on how to trade and everything, and I then joined some communities whilst I was learning, and I came across the community, the Trading Academy, and they for me were the absolute best. They were really active inside of there. Everybody was teaching everybody, and it was just a wholesome community. So I decided to keep on grinding, keep on learning, and try to be as active as possible inside the community. At that moment, the community, there were around 1,000 people inside of there, so not too many, because right now, 2 years later, the community has around 30k members. But overall, there were a lot of good traders inside of there, so I tried to be as active as possible, try to connect with them, in order to also learn from them as well, and try to be the best trader out there. So after some months being inside the academy, there were a lot of good traders, and I decided to connect with them. I decided to send them some private messages, try to see what's up, and we discussed some trading setups. But some of you guys may know Rutger, but basically there was a guy named Rutger inside the Trading Academy, and I went over and sent him some private messages. I asked him for advice, and he then mentioned that he did a mentorship, he was coaching. So at that moment I only had around 1,200 euros in my bank account, and his coaching was 250 a month, and I didn't have an income stream because I stopped with my student job. But still I decided to take the risk, because either way, with the knowledge that I had, or that I would have had from that coaching, I 100% in the long run either have learned a lot, which I can explain to my children, or I can do something else with, or I'm already being able to get a lot of money with that information that I get from the mentorship. So with that coaching, after 3 months I got my first payout. So that's literally amazing, and that's because with a coach they already made the mistakes that they made during their journey. So let's say, I think Rutger had a very long journey, about 3 to 5 years already, and all of the lessons that he had inside those years, he could have prevented me from doing them. So that's why I got so fast of a progress, and after 3 months I made 7k in the next 2 months. But then after that I was like, damn, I'm the best trader in Belgium, this and that. But then the month after that I lost it all, because I went on a vacation with my friends and we were hiking. It was like a hiking vacation, and there was almost no service. So what I was doing, I was waking up, looking at the charts for 5 minutes, and then we were hiking, and then looking for a minute, and then, oh, I see a setup, I'm going to take a trade. But that resulted me in not taking the A+ setups, and actually, yeah, I always followed my risk management because that's just a habit, but I didn't follow my trading plan, because I had no time to really focus and analyze the market. So that's something I can give to you guys. My mistake is that I was still trading when I actually should have not been trading. I was on a vacation, so I should focus on taking the rest and not try to trade when I do not have the perfect environment. So right now, also I only trade whenever I'm at home and I have the time to analyze the market. So that was something huge, because I thought that those months after that, after I got those 7k in payouts, I thought that I was the man and that I was going to get 50k or 100k in payouts. But yeah, then reality hit and I lost it all. So the months after that, my money was gone from the coaching, right? I spent everything that I had inside the coaching. All of the money I made from payouts, I spent on accounts, which I then lost all of it because I spent all of it in accounts. So the month after that, I had no money at all. I couldn't continue the mentorship and I had to try to make money some way in order to fund coaching, in order to fund trading. So what I did the next months, absolutely nothing. I don't know what it was, because when I lost it all, I'm going to be honest, I didn't feel anything. For me, I was actually happy that it happened, because that was just a journey. I knew, because I was watching YouTube videos and motivational videos, and I knew that there are setbacks when trading or having a business, and I was happy that that setback then happened, because then from there I can bounce up higher again. But then I was trading and I had one funded account on a prop firm. I'm not going to mention the prop firm, but something happened and my funded account was not able to trade, or I was not able to trade that account. So I lost literally everything. But then I had no money, so I was like, how can I build my trading future? So I was trying to now look for a different strategy, and I switched from the 50-minute time frame that I was used to swing trading. And then I saw a little dip in my trading, because at that moment I didn't like swing trading. Why didn't I love swing trading or saw the best results with swing trading? Well, that's because with swing trading you gotta also know the fundamentals, because you have bigger swings, which the moves are made out of fundamentals as well. So that's then around literally 1 year ago, around September, October, November, December, I actually didn't make any money from trading. I also had no accounts. I also had no money to fund the accounts. But then I have luck with my parents and I get every single month 200 from them at that moment. And with that, I was a kid that didn't really go out a lot or spend a lot of money on eating out. And I was mainly at home trying to work on myself, trying to work out, trying to read, and also go for walks and just work on myself. So I was not really the one who went out a lot and spent a lot of money. So after some months, I saved up enough money to buy me 2 100k challenges. And with that, I again got a payout, just a single one, but that was enough to prove myself that I could actually do it. And also the people from the Training Academy were starting a mentorship. And at that moment in time, I've shown that I could make multiple payouts over the long run. I made one big mistake, but right now I'm never going to make that mistake again. And I knew that, so they accepted me as a coach. Because I have all of the knowledge and I know how to get payouts, I know how to be consistent, and I know how to reach those payouts by having a good risk management, by having the right psychology, and by also being able to trade, of course. But the thing is, the psychology is what most people are struggling with. And it's not a huge part of trading, but you need to at least have that switch of psychology. For me, when I see somebody having a loss and they are feeling miserable or sad because of it, I truly do not understand that, because I'm lucky enough to not feel anything when I have losses. And when I see other people like having those emotions, I don't understand that, because the thing is, for me, whenever I have a loss, I'm happy because I learned and now I can just go on, and a loss is completely normal. I have a 43% win rate, this month 75%, and I'll explain that in a second. But I have on average a 43% win rate, so out of 10 trades I take 6 losing trades. So with that in mind, then that means that losses are completely normal, setbacks are completely normal, and also losing streaks are way more normal than you think, right? I think for me, with my data, I have like a 20% chance of having a 10 losing streak on a 50 trades, I think, or 100 trades. So that's obviously going to happen a lot of the time. So what you always need to look at is, okay, these are 100% going to happen. So when this happen, I don't care at all. And I just wait until that losing streak is over. And when I again go on and get back at trading, because that's just mathematics. And these losing streaks, these losses, they will happen every single time. And that just won't stop. So you gotta find a way to accept it. So also a tip that I can give you is everything that happened, and you cannot change anything about it. So if you took a loss, learn from it, why you took the loss, but don't be mad that you took a loss, because being mad is not going to change the way that you trade. It's not going to improve your trading, and even the opposite of that, right? You're going to be bad at trading. So with that, right, I got the 200k accounts and I started coaching, and with that coaching I got some money to buy some more accounts. And with that, I think I bought 500k accounts in total. I lost 3 of them and I got 2 of them funded. So what does that mean also for you? That if you buy multiple accounts, which I highly advise you to do so, I wouldn't say buy one account, because the chance that you lose one account is really, really big. You buy multiple accounts in order to pass some of them. So what I do, I have multiple accounts, I trade them a little higher risk so that I pass a couple of them, lose of course a couple of them, but with the ones that I then have funded, I then go back to lower risk in order to save them forever. Because what I did, or what I learned from my first mistake, I lost all of my fundeds. So whenever I'm funded, I'm going to risk so that I have them for always. Like when you get some payouts, you immediately make back all of the amount that you paid for the accounts that you lost. So that's already made back. And then with the funded accounts, you can get more payouts. So don't be mad when you lose any account, because you're going to eventually get a funded account and you're going to make all your money back and way more. Then I had a very long time after the tariffs where I was also getting into fundamental trading. And the thing with that is I was a technical trader, but then I tried to switch to fundamentals because there was a hedge fund manager who learned the Trading Academy coaches a strategy fundamentally. And it was really, really interesting because I didn't even know what the actual economics were that moved the market. So I was really interested in that. I started to trade that. And for like this half year, basically, I actually I was completely break even, because I was sometimes doing great. Sometimes it just didn't make any sense. Also because of the tariffs from Trump, it was all just chaos. So then I decided, okay, what if I decided to combine the fundamentals with the technicals? And these are the last 2 months, and they've been absolutely amazing. The last 2 months, I got 200k accounts extra funded. I got 4 extra payouts. That's in this month alone. And I also got a phase 1 on FTMO. I'll show you on the screen here actually. But basically the thing with that is right now I found what it is. Right, so you have technicals, you have fundamentals, and the first time when I was trading and I got payouts, I was only trading my strategy, my trading plan, technicals on a 50-minute. Then when it went bad, the months after that, I was trading, or I was trying to go to swing trading. That's a whole different strategy. So of course it's going bad in the beginning. Then it went good with swing trading. But then I learned fundamentals and I again had a dip. So, because I again switched strategies, and then I learned fundamentals, and then it went good and good and good. But then with tariffs and everything, I ended up being at break even. So then I decided, okay, I've made all of these mistakes by switching strategies kind of. So what can I do? I'm just going to combine all of the knowledge that I have, swing trading, lower time frame trading. For me, lower time frame is 50-minute, and fundamentals going to put them together, going to learn that. Now I have combined every single thing, and now I only have one strategy, which I highly like. That's the best strategy that I have ever had, because I know the fundamentals, and on the technicals I can time the trading. So now I have just one strategy, and as you can see, that is paying off. Every single time that I had one strategy and I stuck to one strategy, I always was seeing results. But when I was seeing results, I wanted to improve, I wanted more, and I switched from my strategy a little bit, and then the dip again came. So now what I learned with this little positive, or these positive months, what I'm going to do, I'm just going to stick to my strategy, and I'm not going to try to now do something else, like, I don't know, quant trading or anything along those lines. So also keep that in mind for yourself. Now, of course, you can also, if you're now a technical trader and you want to learn the fundamentals, that's possible, but don't try to yet implement that into your trading. You can learn it on the side, and then you can try to backtest it together with your technicals or whatever you want to do on a demo account, because that's again another strategy. And then once you're comfortable with that, you can then put it back into the actual chart and actually start trading it live. So that's my advice for you. But then right now, the last couple of months, absolutely amazing. I also stopped with school these months. So the thing with that is, I now have a lot of time to be analyzing the market, be looking at the fundamentals, and read all of these articles in order to just be very focused on trading. And whenever I'm very focused on trading, I'm at the charts the whole day. Not that I am, but I can be at the charts the whole day. I read some articles when I'm going for a walk or when I go to the gym, and that's just where my performance is at the highest level. And I've seen whenever I have exams, or when I had exams, I had a lot of time to be at the chart, and that's also where I got my payouts during exams. But when I had like big presentations, or when I had to spend a lot of time on school, going to school for example, my trading results went downhill. So whenever you have time to trade or to learn how to trade, make sure to use that time to trade or learn how to trade, because the more time you spend, the more you're going to learn, and the more focused you are, so the more you're going to follow your trading plan and be here with the mindset and everything. So that's kind of the trading journey. And then right now where I'm at, this month I had 4 payouts resulting in 9,000 profit, and I also got max allocation with the trading pit, as well as I passed my first FTMO phase 1 account, and in total got a 30R month, which is absolutely amazing. Never got that, but let's see if we can continue this consistency and results in the next couple of months, but I'll keep you updated from now on. So now I'm going to show you the actual trades that I took, so that you guys can also try to learn from my strategy and also try to get the same results and maybe even better from here. Because as you also saw from my journey, I'm also just a normal dude who was in school, who was just in a normal environment working, and then I decided to just be very consistent, always stick to trading, because that's the thing. A lot of people, and I almost fell in that trap, a lot of people start to trade and then it's working, and then they think it's boring, so they go to drop shipping or something else. And that's also what went in my head, right? Because at the times, the half years where I wasn't seeing any results, where I was at break even, I was like, drop shipping looks very interesting. But whenever I decided to try drop shipping, I always think after a week of trying it, okay, let me just set a step back. Do I really want to drop ship? No. I know a lot more information, or know a lot more about trading, so I'm going to stick to trading, and I'm not going to try and drop ship right now, right? A lot of friends from me were trying to drop ship with me because they also were trying to do some business, but every single time I said, no, I need to do trading. And that was something hard. That was a hard thing for me inside this whole journey. But eventually, if you stick to one thing, even in the boring times and the bad times, if you just stick to it and be consistent, at some point you're eventually going to get a lot of results. It's like you have this plateau and you're going to work for a couple of months, maybe even years, and you're not going to see any results. but here is your plateau. For some people, the plateau is after some months, some after some years, but whenever you cross that plateau, after not seeing any results, you're ready to skyrocket, and then you will see results after that plateau, and it will skyrocket, and you will make everything that you wanted in 1 or a couple of months. All right, so let's go over some trade setups that I took in order to get these payouts. So I'm not going to go too in depth inside of these trade setups. If you guys would like me to go really in depth of them, then make sure to comment it down below, because then I'll make trade breakdowns for them so that you guys can actually learn a lot from them. But overall, if you look at this, this is the first payout over here, this one, and it's a gold long setup. So you'll just see that gold from the month is really bullish, and overall we have been trading up higher and higher and higher, and you just see every single time you take liquidity and you move up higher. You take liquidity and hit that low, you trade up higher. You take liquidity, you trade up higher. So here, going to the 1 hour time frame, we took liquidity, and I don't care at all that the actual structure changed bearish, and we should continue to trade down lower, because overall we're fundamentally bullish, because at that moment I think we were, it's like a month ago, but we were in a risk off environment. So people go to safe havens. Gold is very safe, so people put their money into gold. So I was looking to long gold, and even though we are structure-wise bearish, I just saw every single time we grab liquidity, trade up higher. So we grab liquidity, and then what did I see? We created this kind of like chain of demand zones. So then we created this demand zone here. Did I want to already go long from the demand? No, I wanted to see a little more confirmation before longing, because this could be also the case, right? So once I saw that we had this, we create another demand, but then we broke underneath that, grab liquidity, and then traded up higher, which means that we broke this high and we created this as our strong low. Why is that a strong low? Well, because it takes out liquidity, and when the low takes out liquidity, that's a strong low. So from that demand, very simple, I was just looking to continue the order flow back up higher, right? So I placed my entry on top of that demand zone, the sell before the buy, my stop loss underneath this strong low, which takes out liquidity, and I just decided to hold for an 8.5 hour. What you gotta know, guys, is that I almost never, and actually this is actually my first ever trade where I go over 3 hour, but I normally don't do that. But why did I do it inside of here? Well, first of all, my account was in drawdown, but that doesn't matter. But gold here is absolutely bullish, right? At that moment, we're in a risk-off environment. People go to gold. We saw a liquidation, and the most important thing, what was I targeting? If you look over here, the 4,000 level. I 100% knew that with these fundamentals, with the bullish fundamentals, with the overall momentum, we're just going to trade towards that 4,000 level. So what did I do? I decided to just hold this trade. And of course, at around even this level, I think I went to break even, right? So that's the first trade. Gold resulted in my first payout. And then if we look with a second payout, these were, I think, 3 setups. So we had 80 Swiss, which was 1 setup. So here you can see 80 Swiss. And I took a long setup. I use replay mode for this. So here we are bullish. We then saw a retracement, and a lot of people saw this liquidation event, this whole demand zone, and then we grabbed liquidity, and then we started to break structure into the upside. So they wanted to long. But then I saw that this candle here was a rollover candle. If you guys don't know what it is, I've made a video about it, but this is a fake candle. And that means that we didn't take liquidity, and that the liquidity underneath these lows are still open. Plus, we have a quarterly level at this point, especially at these open lows. So I waited for those lows to get taken out. So at this moment, we take out a lot of liquidity, we tap the quarterly level, and we take out all of these lows, which a lot of people had stop losses underneath, because a lot of people were looking for longs. So after we tapped that point, again, that quarterly level, perfect reaction, we saw a break into the upside and even another break. Why didn't I decide to long already from the demand zone? Well, actually, I was looking to, but there were no fractal breaks. So fractal are these here, and as you can see, these were all into the downside, right? Never ever we had an upside break, so I never had the chance to take a long setup. Whenever there would be an upside break, for example over here, then probably price was ready to already trade up higher. But that didn't happen, and we traded down lower, and we grabbed liquidity underneath that low, again tapping the quarterly level for the second time, and from here we could trade up higher. So then what happens is that we break the fractal high. So you could say, alright, I'm going to long off of this fractal, stop loss underneath the low, which takes out liquidity, which is strong, to trade up higher like this. But I went over to the 50-minute time frame and I saw that here we had this internal structure. Boom, 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 boom. Why is this not my swing high, but this is? Well, again, these candles here are all the dead gap. So these are all fake. Again, if you don't know what it is, make sure to check the video out because it is important. So these are all fake candles. So this is my internal swing high. So for more confirmation, instead of just one hour fractal, I wanted to see the internal trend switch bullish before longing. So here I waited and I waited and I waited in order for price to break the internal trend into the upside, which happened here. And at that moment, what did I see? Trend line liquidity underneath the lows, an open demand zone, which takes out liquidity, and an open weekly open. So we could see something like this. So where did I place my stop loss? I could have placed my stop loss underneath that low because that low takes out liquidity, but I wanted to be extra safe and I placed it underneath this low because that low takes out actually major liquidity. So just to be safe, where was my entry? Well, at these trend line liquidities on top of this demand zone. So as you can see what happened, we got entered, boom, we tapped the demand zone, and from there we continue the order flow up higher into my take profit. So this was 80 Swiss. That was the first trade on this pair over here. We have 2 more trades on that account, and that was on USD yen as well. So yeah, so it actually was right over here. I first took USD yen, then 80 Swiss, or even USD yen, then silver, and then 80 Swiss. Doesn't matter. I'm trying to show you and trying to learn you. But basically, as you can see, we are bullish. We saw a retracement into discount prices. We took a lot of liquidity underneath the lows. Now, something before that, we're consolidating for a very, very long time. And we then see a manipulative move into the downside, swiping all of these lows out. So then I was looking for a reversal to at least take out the high of the range out, and even maybe that high. So also at that moment, the fundamentals were bullish for the dollar. If you guys are interested in my fundamentals, I would 100% advise you to read a lot of articles in order to grasp a lot of information about fundamentals, and try to ask ChatGPT, what are these articles saying? And that way you're going to learn about the fundamentals, you're going to learn how it works, and then you can ask ChatGPT, okay, well, with that information, what effect does it have on those pairs, right? And then, of course, in our community, we share a lot of advice around the fundamentals, like risk on and risk off pairs, and that's just basically the basics you need to know. And you also have forexfundamentals.com. This is the best website if you would like to learn fundamentals. It shows you like a fundamental score, and also shows you based on AI the best articles to read, because otherwise you have a lot of articles. But those are just the fundamentals that I use, together with looking at, okay, what are the next talks going on, the interest rate decisions. But if you guys are interested in that, again, drop it down in the comments and I'll make a different video about that. But overall, and I wanted to long because the fundamentals on the dollar were bullish, and we saw that we had a huge manipulation underneath the lows and wanted to take out all of these highs. So if I go to the 1 hour, I then see that actually we started after this liquidation event from this news event here, boom, boom. I then saw that we were creating bullish order flow. So we have a demand, another demand, and then another demand. So why didn't I long, for example, like this, underneath that demand, your stop loss, and trading up higher? Well, because we had the monthly open here, and it could give us like a reaction to grab liquidity to then be trading up higher. So whenever here we failed to break that monthly open, I was not looking to trade up higher from this demand zone. But then we clearly broke above that monthly level and created this demand zone. So what did I do? I decided to, if I go to the 50-minute, it might be more clear for you guys. I decided to enter at around that monthly level because that's my point of interest. And I see at that monthly level, you'll have this liquidity low and this refined demand zone, this sell before the buy. So on top of that, I placed my entry and I placed my stop loss underneath the order flow low, which should be respected in order for us to trade up higher. And as you can see, from that monthly level, again guys, very clean levels, we see a huge reaction resulting us in a very beautiful 3R setup. So then we have one more setup resulting in this payout. So it's not just one setup. And if I go to the 4 hour, it is over here. So let me stop replay mode real quick. It's a very easy long setup, kind of same one as gold here. So fundamentally we're bullish on silver because again, people are flowing into metals. And you can also see if you look back at the future price action or the past price action, very bullish, right? You've just been trading up higher and there was nothing major inside articles or anything else where we should see a decline in silver, and I just saw silver grinding up higher. So what did I do? Well, very easy. Whenever the order flow was just bullish, so here we had a demand, we then create a second demand, so we have a chain of demand zones, we have bullish order flow, just decided to enter off of the demand, stop loss underneath the low, and then just decided to trade up for a 3R. And this could be the same as the gold one. I could have held this for like even 11.5R to trade towards the all-time high for recent years. So that was also possible, but I just needed a 3R for my payout. So I just decided to take my profits out. Don't be greedy, guys. So basically, you could have also done it here on top of the order flow with your stop loss underneath the low. You could have done it here as well, something like this. Here as well, very easy. You could have always targeted a simple 3R to make your money, right? Very simple trades in line with the bullish momentum. So that was basically those 3 trades resulting me in the second payout. Now then we had the third payout, and now I need to think. It was Swiss yen. So Swiss yen here, again, combining the fundamentals with the technicals, because if you look here at this chart, why did I went long over here? Well, if you look at the technicals, you should say, if you use the PVD from the swing low at that time towards the swing high at that time, you then would say, I would like to see a retracement towards this liquidity low, because that's at the 50% level, and it's also at this sell before the buy, this demand zone. So from here, I would like to trade up higher. But guys, the fundamentals at the moment that we were here, it was really bullish because we had a risk-off environment. So people went into the Swiss franc, but also the yen, meaning that we should be consolidating, right? Because both pairs should be rising. But when you're in a risk-off environment, the Swiss at that moment, that's not always, but the Swiss at that moment was more bullish than the yen. If I looked at forexfundamentals.com and some other articles that I read about the Swiss franc, which were inside fundamentals.com. But overall, we were bullish and more bullish for the Swiss franc than the yen. So for that week at that moment, I saw the weekend in a bullish closure. So after I saw the retracement where we grabbed some liquidity, and from there we started to create some demand zones, I then decided to long. So if I look a bit deeper into it, you saw a retracement where you took liquidity and then you saw the break and you created this demand zone. So here the week started and then we saw the break. So once we saw that break, we created this demand, which then had a low that took out liquidity. So a strong low where I could place my stop loss underneath. But why didn't I enter like this on top of the demand, but I entered like this? Well, actually, I couldn't do anything about it because I was sleeping at this moment because the week just opened. And I woke up at around these prices because I went to the gym and I looked at the chart, and at that moment we were at the weekly open. So I decided to do a market execution here, to long, stop loss underneath this low because that's a strong low which takes our liquidity, and then boom, from that weekly open you see that we trade up higher, perfectly resulting for a 3R. So that was the second or the third payout actually, and then we have the fourth payout, which in my opinion is the best setup that I've taken this month, and that's this first GBP/USD short. So overall, what you gotta know is that the dollar for me was fundamentally and is still fundamentally bullish. So not going to go too deep into this because that could be a separate video. If you guys are interested in that, I don't know. But for the whole year we have been trading down lower because of a weak dollar. But right now we're kind of seeing consolidation, and if you look at the weekly time frame, this could be a point where we see a retracement up higher to the swing high. So with that in mind, after seeing such an impulse and then consolidation, I then could see that from here we start to trade up higher and take out liquidity above the highs. People who watch my weekly outlook know and see the progression. But overall, this is the technicals, and if I look fundamentally, we had a huge decline, a huge deappreciation of the dollar, but people are now realizing that the dollar actually isn't that weak. So we are seeing retracements, and that's obviously so shortly said, but with that in mind, I was looking for dollar longs, which means EURUSD shorts, which I also took. I think I'm still inside of them actually. Yeah, I am. But also GBP/USD shorts. And if you look, your GBP/USD swing bearish, boom, you then see retracement without grabbing that liquidity. So you fail to break this low, which then means that you created equal lows. And when you fail to break a low, you're going to grab liquidity at the highs. And then when we grab liquidity at highs, you grabbed enough fuel to try again and break the low, which we then eventually did. So we also tapped the quarterly level, and from the quarterly level, the liquidity in order to try again, and the order flow that switches bearish here, we could short down lower towards these equal lows. So I went over to the 4-hour time frame. So over here, again, here we changed the order flow bearish on the daily time frame, but I did not enter yet into lows or into shorts because we are swing bullish. So I waited to become swing bearish, and then again guys, these technicals are literally perfection. From the high to the low, we see a perfect tap into the premium prices, and from there you see a sell-off again. You also, not only that, but you also have the monthly open, which then pushes price down lower. Then I would like to prefer to grab liquidity above this high in order to short, but that didn't happen, and we reacted from this supply and reacted from this liquidity. So I then saw this break into the upside, then this break into the downside, and I decided to enter after that break into the downside because you had premium prices, you had this supply zone, you had the liquidity, and you had the monthly level. So based on my plan, I should just take it. So from this supply that we now created, I entered off of that, stop loss above the supply, and very easy, just short towards the equal lows over here. I was inside this trade for over a month. You can also see that I took the second trade, which also got a take profit. This was kind of a scaling, but you saw a move down lower. After the low, you see a retracement. You then tap the quarterly level again, grab liquidity, and again you're now going to trade down lower. And here after the break, over here this fractal break, creating this supply, you had another shorting opportunity, but I decided to not take it because I was already inside 2 GBP/USD shorts, and I'm not going to risk 3 setups on just one move, right? Because we don't want to be greedy, we just want to be trading according our risk management plan. But these were also very, very clean setups, resulting now in my last payout this month. So overall, those were all the positions that I had, and also my journey and how I got here. And I just want to show you that everybody can do this, but you need to be consistent, you need to put the work in, and it's not that I just started to trade right now, right? I've been in this game for a very long time, I've invested a lot of money inside of it, and that's what resulting me to get then after some time gain momentum and see results, right? So I hope this video was a very good one for you guys, and you guys learned a lot from it. And make sure to comment down below if there is anything that I missed that you guys would like to know for future videos. Thank you guys, and see you in the next one. Ciao.